Ladies and gentlemen, imagine being in a relationship where you no longer question if they'll stay because every word, every action, every little choice they make reassures you they're here for the long run. Imagine the peace of knowing you don't have to beg for love, you don't have to chase for attention, because what you give is matched and what you value is respected. Too many people waste years in connections that feel fragile, built on uncertainty, built on the hope that maybe, just maybe, it will last. But today, I want to show you the undeniable signs that separate fleeting love from lasting love. Because when you learn these, you'll never again confuse someone's temporary presence with a lifelong partner's devotion. Stay with me, because these signs could change the way you see your entire relationship. And ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to love, everyone wants certainty. We all want to know if the relationship we're investing our time, our emotions, and our energy into is going to last. But here's the truth. Relationships aren't sustained by luck, passion, or even chemistry alone. They are built moment by moment, choice by choice, through habits, behaviors, and mindsets that either nourish the bond or quietly chip away at it. And if you've ever wondered whether your relationship has the foundation to stand the test of time, there are signs, clear, undeniable signs that show you not only where you are, but where you're headed. And one of the first signs is emotional maturity. Love isn't about avoiding problems. It's about how you handle them. In lasting relationships, both people know how to step back, breathe, and respond instead of react. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing when to pause before speaking words that can't be taken back. If you and your partner can fight without destroying each other, if you can disagree without disrespect, then you're already setting yourselves apart from the countless couples who fall apart at the first sign of conflict. And another sign is the ability to grow together, not just side by side. Relationships that last are living things. They evolve. Both people are committed not just to each other, but to their own growth as individuals. They're willing to look at their own flaws, to admit when they're wrong, and to stretch beyond their comfort zones. When two people are willing to evolve, they create a relationship that doesn't become stagnant. It breathes, it adapts, it thrives. And trust is another pillar. Without trust, there is no safety. Without safety, there is no vulnerability. And without vulnerability, intimacy withers. A relationship that will last is one where both people feel secure enough to be their authentic selves. They don't hide their fears or their struggles, and they don't feel judged for being human. Trust isn't built through grand gestures. It's built through consistency, showing up when you say you will, keeping your promises, and treating your partner's heart as something fragile and valuable. And communication is perhaps the most obvious yet most overlooked sign. Couples who last don't avoid hard conversations. They lean into them. They don't just talk about logistics, the groceries, the bills, the errands. They talk about their inner worlds. They ask, "How are you really feeling?" They make time to check in, even when life is busy. They don't expect their partner to be a mind reader, and they don't punish them for not being one. Instead, they practice honesty, clarity, and patience. And respect might sound simple, but it's what keeps love from eroding. Respect means listening when your partner speaks, even when you disagree. It means supporting their dreams, even when they're different from your own. It means treating them with kindness, not just when you're in love, but when you're tired, stressed, or annoyed. Relationships that last are not about how you treat each other in the honeymoon phase. It's about how you treat each other when things are hard. And another sign is that you both understand the balance between independence and togetherness. You don't lose yourselves in the relationship, and you don't force your partner to abandon their individuality. Instead, you celebrate each other's independence. You know that a healthy relationship is not two halves becoming whole, but two wholes choosing to share their lives. When both people can thrive individually and also deeply enjoy their togetherness, that's when a relationship has staying power. And gratitude is another marker. Couples who last don't take each other for granted. They notice the small things, a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, a supportive presence. They don't just point out what's wrong, they acknowledge what's right. They make each other feel seen and valued. Gratitude is fuel. Without it, love runs dry. With it, even the ordinary days feel extraordinary. And another critical sign is that both partners are willing to repair. Every couple stumbles. Every couple has moments of disconnection. What matters is not whether you fight, but how you make your way back to each other. Do you both take responsibility? Do you both apologize when necessary? Do you both actively seek to heal the wound rather than ignore it? The ability to repair is what keeps a relationship strong in the long run. And patience is another sign. Not every day in love will feel magical. Some days will feel routine, some will feel frustrating. But lasting couples understand that love is not about perfection, it's about persistence. They don't expect constant highs, but they are patient through the lows. They know that real love takes time, and they're willing to ride the waves together rather than jump ship at the first sign of trouble. And emotional support is also key. In relationships that last, both people feel like they have a partner who's in their corner, someone who doesn't just celebrate their wins, but who sits with them in their losses, someone who offers encouragement without judgment, who says, I believe in you, not only when it's easy, but when it's hardest to believe in yourself. That kind of support creates an unbreakable bond. And another sign is alignment of values. Attraction might spark the connection, but shared values sustain it. Do you both care about honesty, kindness, loyalty, or whatever principles matter most to you? If your core values align, you'll find it easier to navigate the big decisions in life. But if they clash, no amount of passion will bridge the gap forever. And playfulness is often underrated, but it's one of the strongest signs a relationship will last. Couples who laugh together, who can be silly, who don't take themselves too seriously, have a resilience that others don't. Playfulness reminds you why you enjoy being with each other in the first place. It keeps the spark alive and prevents the relationship from becoming purely transactional. And boundaries also show up as a powerful sign. Lasting relationships are not about losing boundaries, they're about respecting them. You and your partner should be able to say no to each other without fear of punishment. You should be able to express needs without guilt. Boundaries protect love because they ensure that both people feel respected and safe. And finally, there's the simple but profound sense of peace. A relationship that will last doesn't constantly feel like a battlefield. Yes, there may be storms, but underneath it all, there's a sense of stability. You feel calmer with your partner, not more anxious in us. You feel like you can exhale when you're with them. That sense of peace isn't boring. It's the foundation on which passion and excitement can thrive. And these signs are not about perfection. No couple embodies them all flawlessly. But when they're present, when you can see them consistently in your relationship, you know you have something worth protecting, something worth investing in, something that has the strength not just to last a season, but a lifetime. And then here's what's powerful about these signs. They're not random traits you hope you stumble upon in someone else. They are conscious choices and behaviors that you cultivate together. A relationship that lasts isn't about lucking out and meeting someone who just magically gets it. It's about building something with a person who is willing to show up, to work, and to grow with you every single day. When you start to view these signs as skills instead of coincidences, you realize that lasting love is available to those who practice it, not just those who wait for it. And think about the way kindness operates in long-term relationships. At the beginning, kindness often shows up through compliments, affection, little surprises. But over time, the kindness that sustains a relationship is found in the daily acts of consideration, the tone you choose when you're tired, the patience you show when your partner is stressed, the decision to listen instead of criticize. It's easy to be kind when everything feels perfect. The true sign of endurance is when kindness shows up on the difficult days, and consistency is another extension of this. Lasting love is not built in grand gestures alone. It's the daily reliability, the knowing that you can count on this person not just to say the right things, but to follow through. It's not exciting in the way a whirlwind romance might be, but it's far more powerful because when you feel steady ground beneath you, when you feel like your partner is dependable, your heart is freed from the anxiety of uncertainty. That sense of consistency becomes the soil in which passion, trust, and intimacy flourish. And another layer that often gets overlooked is forgiveness. Every couple, no matter how aligned, will make mistakes. Harsh words will slip out, thoughtless actions will happen, moments of distance will appear. But in lasting relationships, forgiveness isn't about excusing hurtful behavior. It's about choosing to heal rather than to hold on to resentment. Forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring patterns that are damaging. It means that when your partner shows effort, growth, and responsibility, you choose to let go of the wound so you can keep moving forward together. Couples who cannot forgive eventually drown in bitterness, while those who can forgive allow love to breathe again. And a deeper sign is the presence of admiration. Not just love, not just attraction, but genuine admiration for who your partner is as a human being. Do you look at them and think, I respect you not just as my partner, but as a person? When admiration is there, it sustains love even when life feels ordinary. Because admiration feeds desire, and it keeps the relationship from feeling transactional. You're not together just because of shared responsibilities or obligations. You're together because you truly look up to each other in some way. And adaptability is another crucial factor. Life will not stay the same. Careers change, health shifts, family dynamics evolve. Couples who last aren't the ones who resist these changes. They're the ones who learn to adapt together. They don't cling desperately to how things used to be. They lean into what is now and what's ahead. Adaptability doesn't mean losing sight of your values or your identity. It means being willing to evolve the way you show up for each other when circumstances demand it. If both people have that flexibility, the relationship doesn't break under pressure. It bends, adjusts, and then grows stronger. And shared vision is also critical. You don't need to have identical goals, but there has to be alignment in the direction you're heading. If one of you wants a quiet life in the countryside while the other dreams of a bustling city career, if one of you wants children and the other never does, eventually the lack of alignment will create a fracture. But when both of you are moving toward a similar horizon, the partnership feels like a collaboration. Every small step forward feels like a step you're taking together. That shared vision gives meaning to the sacrifices, the compromises, and the patience you invest along the way. And there's also something to be said about energy. In relationships that last, there's an effort to bring positive energy into the space you share. That doesn't mean you never feel low or negative, but it does mean you take responsibility for the energy you contribute. If you constantly bring blame, criticism, or cynicism, the relationship becomes heavy. But if you bring encouragement, optimism, and warmth, the relationship feels like a sanctuary. Couples who last don't make each other the dumping ground for their worst moods. They lean on each other, but they also consciously uplift each other. And another sign is the courage to be honest about your needs. Many relationships fall apart, not because love disappears, but because unspoken needs fester into frustration. In strong relationships, both partners are brave enough to say, this is what I need, without guilt or shame. And equally, they listen without dismissing or invalidating the other person's needs. When needs are voiced and respected, the relationship becomes a place of authenticity rather than pretense. And one of the most beautiful signs is that the relationship doesn't just make you feel good about being with your partner, it makes you feel good about yourself. A lasting love doesn't diminish you, it doesn't shrink you, it doesn't make you question your worth. Instead, it reinforces your value. It makes you feel stronger, are more capable, more alive. When you are with someone who sees your potential, who reminds you of your strengths, who believes in your growth, it elevates not just the relationship, but your entire life. And mutual responsibility is another layer to this. Lasting relationships aren't about one person carrying the weight while the other coasts. They're about shared responsibility, whether it's in household tasks, financial decisions, or emotional labor. Both people show up, both people contribute, both people own their part. When that balance exists, resentment doesn't have a chance to grow unchecked. And humility plays a role too. In relationships that last, both people are humble enough to admit when they're wrong, to apologize sincerely, and to learn from mistakes. Pride destroys connection, but humility restores it. Humility doesn't mean weakness. It means you value the relationship more than your ego. It's the ability to say, I'm sorry, and mean it, without deflecting, without defending, without minimizing. That humility is the oil that keeps the machinery of love running smoothly even after friction. And another important sign is that the relationship enhances rather than erases your friendships and connections outside the partnership. When you're with someone who respects your other relationships, your friends, your family, your community, it shows that they're not trying to control or isolate you. Instead, they understand that your life is bigger than just the two of you. And paradoxically, that freedom makes the relationship stronger because it comes from a place of trust and security rather than fear and control. And couples who last also know how to celebrate each other's individuality. They don't try to mold each other into a copy of themselves. They don't see differences as threats. They see them as opportunities to expand their perspective. Instead of saying, "Why aren't you more like me?" they say, "I love the way you see the world differently." That level of acceptance doesn't just create harmony, it fosters curiosity, playfulness, and respect. And lastly, there's the ongoing choice. Relationships that last aren't about staying together because you have to. They're about choosing each other again and again. Every day, consciously or unconsciously, you're making the decision to commit, to show up, to love. The relationships that endure are the ones where that choice isn't taken for granted. It's renewed, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. And when you look at all these signs together, you begin to see the bigger picture. Lasting love isn't just about how you feel in the beginning. It's about how you act throughout the journey. It's about weaving trust, respect, gratitude, honesty, admiration, and adaptability into the fabric of your daily life. And when both people bring those qualities, the relationship doesn't just survive, it thrives. Even through the storms, even through the years, even through the inevitable ups and downs that life will bring. And what becomes clear, the more you look at these qualities, is that love that lasts isn't a mystery. It's a discipline. It's not a fairy tale that either appears in your life or doesn't. It's a series of habits and commitments that you and your partner choose over and over again. That's why when you see couples who have been together for decades, what you're really seeing is not just romance, but resilience. You're seeing two people who made the decision countless times to fight for connection instead of against each other, to prioritize understanding over ego, to keep building instead of giving up. And one of the most important signs of endurance is the ability to truly listen, not just hearing the words that come out of your partner's mouth, but listening beneath the surface to what they mean, what they feel, and what they need. Lasting couples don't listen just to respond. They listen to understand. They know that sometimes the solution isn't advice or action. It's simply creating a space where the other person feels deeply heard. Listening is a form of love, and when it's present, it nourishes the bond in ways that words alone never could. And another dimension is vulnerability. Relationships that stand the test of time are built on the courage to let someone see the parts of you that you usually keep hidden, the fears, the insecurities, the doubts, the dreams you barely dare to admit to yourself. Vulnerability is risky. It means handing someone else the power to hurt you. But when both people embrace vulnerability, it doesn't create weakness. It creates intimacy. It says, "I trust you with the truth of who I am." And that truth becomes the glue that keeps two souls connected, even when the world outside feels uncertain. And sacrifice, too, is part of lasting love. Not sacrifice in the sense of losing yourself, but in the sense of occasionally putting aside your immediate wants for the sake of the relationship's greater good. Sometimes it's as small as letting your partner choose the restaurant when you'd prefer somewhere else. Other times it's as big as adjusting your career plans so you can build a life together in the same city. Sacrifice, when it's mutual and balanced, creates a partnership where both people feel valued. It shows that the relationship is not a place of selfishness, but of shared devotion. And a crucial sign is how both of you handle change in each other. Because make no mistake, you will change. Who you are 5 years from now will not be identical to who you are today. Your interests, your priorities, your perspectives will evolve. Relationships that endure are the ones where both people allow space for that evolution. They don't cling to an old version of their partner and resent the new one. Instead, they remain curious, open, and willing to meet each other again and again as life shapes them into new forms. And couples who last also cultivate rituals, small traditions that become threads in the fabric of their love. It might be a nightly check-in before bed, a weekly walk, a holiday tradition, or even an inside joke that never gets old. These rituals create a sense of continuity, a reminder that even as life changes, there are anchors that keep you grounded together. They're not grand gestures, but they're powerful symbols of commitment and consistency. And boundless support is another sign. A partner who believes in your dreams, even when they don't fully understand them, is a partner who helps your spirit soar. Lasting love doesn't compete with your ambitions, it champions them. It says, I want to see you win, even if your win doesn't directly benefit me. That kind of support builds a foundation where both people can grow individually without fear that their growth will threaten the relationship. Instead, their success becomes a shared celebration. And there's also a profound honesty in relationships that last. Not the brutal, careless honesty that wounds, but the compassionate honesty that uplifts. It's the willingness to tell your partner the truth, even when it's uncomfortable because you respect them too much to hide. It's saying, this is how I feel, or this is what I need, even when it risks conflict. That honesty is what prevents resentment from building in the shadows. It's what keeps the connection clean, open, and real. And intimacy too evolves in enduring relationships. In the beginning, intimacy may be fueled by passion and novelty, but over time, true intimacy is about familiarity, about knowing someone so deeply that their presence feels like home. It's not just physical closeness, it's emotional, intellectual, and even spiritual. Couples who last don't let intimacy fade into the background. They nurture it by continuing to explore each other, ask questions, and keep curiosity alive. And another sign is resilience in the face of external challenges. Life will throw curveballs, financial struggles, health issues, family pressures. Couples who last aren't the ones who avoid these storms. They're the ones who face them together. They don't turn on each other when life gets hard. They turn toward each other. That ability to see the relationship as a team rather than two opposing sides is what transforms obstacles into opportunities to grow closer. And play remains a vital ingredient. Couples who sustain their connection are the ones who never lose the ability to laugh together. They keep finding ways to infuse lightness into life, even when it feels heavy. Play is not frivolous, it's fuel. It reminds you that beyond the bills, the responsibilities, and the routines, there's joy to be found in simply being together. A relationship that has laughter has oxygen, and with oxygen, it can keep breathing for years to come. And there's also a deep sense of accountability in lasting relationships. Each person recognizes that they are responsible not just for their own happiness, but for the energy they bring to the relationship. They don't blame endlessly or expect the other person to fix everything. They look inward and ask, what can I do to improve this dynamic? How can I show up better? That accountability keeps the relationship from spiraling into cycles of blame and defensiveness. And another layer is gratitude for time. In long-lasting love, there's an awareness that time together is precious. They don't treat each other as though there will always be more time. They cherish the moments, both big and small, because they understand that nothing is guaranteed. That gratitude for time makes the relationship richer. It transforms ordinary days into memories that carry weight and meaning. And couples who last also have the courage to reinvent their relationship when needed. They don't let routine suffocate passion or let conflict calcify into resentment. Instead, they find ways to refresh, to reimagine, to surprise each other. It might be as simple as trying new activities together or as deep as recommitting to the relationship after a rough season. Reinvention is proof that the relationship is not stagnant. It's alive, evolving, and worth fighting for. And one more sign that cannot be ignored is generosity. Not just financial generosity, but generosity of spirit. Couples who endure give freely of their time, their energy, their affection, without constantly keeping score. They don't withhold love as a form of control. Instead, they give because they want to, and that generosity creates a flow of abundance in the relationship. Both people feel nourished, not depleted, because giving and receiving become part of the natural rhythm of the bond. And perhaps one of the most overlooked but vital signs is acceptance of imperfection. Relationships that last are not perfect, and they don't need to be. Couples who endure are not in love with an idealized version of each other. They're in love with the real, flawed, beautifully human person in front of them. They know that love is not about fixing someone, but about accepting them while encouraging their growth. That acceptance removes pressure and creates space for both people to breathe, to be, and to belong. And when you take all of these signs together, listening, vulnerability, sacrifice, adaptability, rituals, support, honesty, intimacy, resilience, play, accountability, gratitude, reinvention, generosity, and acceptance, you see the mosaic of what lasting love is built from. It's not one thing, it's many. It's the daily choice to prioritize love over ego, connection over convenience, and growth over stagnation. And when two people are both willing to live these principles, the relationship doesn't just endure, it deepens, it strengthens, and it becomes a love story that stands the test of time. And then when you truly understand that lasting love is not found but built, it changes the way you approach everything. Suddenly the question is no longer, did I find the right person? But instead, am I showing up as the right partner? And are we together creating the right conditions for love to thrive? That shift in perspective empowers you. It takes love out of the realm of chance and into the realm of conscious choice. You start to see that what makes a relationship endure is less about fate and more about the daily habits, the intentional decisions, and the shared commitment to growth. And one of the clearest signs of a lasting relationship is when both people feel safe enough to bring their full selves to the table. Think about how many people in relationships hide parts of themselves, masking their emotions, downplaying their needs, pretending to be okay when they're not. That kind of suppression might keep the peace temporarily, but it erodes connection over time. In enduring relationships, both partners feel they can be authentic without fear of rejection. They can share their dreams, their wounds, their quirks, and still feel accepted. That kind of safety builds a bond so deep that no surface-level attraction could ever compete with it. And there's also the presence of mutual inspiration. In relationships that last, you don't just love each other, you inspire each other to become better, not through pressure or criticism, but by the way you live and show up. When your partner's discipline, kindness, or courage makes you want to rise higher, that creates a cycle of growth that never stops feeding the relationship. Inspiration keeps love dynamic. It transforms the bond from something that simply comforts you into something that also challenges and expands you. And a long-lasting relationship also thrives on curiosity. So many couples stop being curious about each other once they feel they know their partner. But lasting love is fueled by the decision to keep discovering each other over and over again, asking new questions, listening to their evolving thoughts, paying attention to how they've changed since yesterday, last year, or 10 years ago. People are not static. They're constantly evolving. When you stay curious, you avoid complacency and keep your connection alive, fresh, and exciting. And another profound sign is that the relationship teaches you something about patience. Because no matter how compatible you are, there will be seasons where one of you struggles more than the other, where one of you is carrying more weight emotionally, mentally, or physically. In those times, patience becomes the glue. The ability to wait, to give your partner space to catch up, to stand by them when they're going through something difficult. That patience speaks volumes about the depth of your love. It shows that your commitment is not conditional on constant smooth sailing, but on weathering storms together. And enduring relationships are also rooted in shared accountability. Both partners recognize their role in creating the quality of the relationship. Instead of saying, "This is your fault," they ask, "What can I do to help us get back on track?" That shared accountability prevents the relationship from becoming a battlefield where blame is the primary weapon. Instead, it becomes a workshop where both people take responsibility for building something better. Accountability shifts the energy from division to unity, from fault-finding to problem-solving. And another sign that your relationship has lasting potential is that you can find balance in conflict. It's not about avoiding arguments, because conflict is inevitable. It's about how you fight. Do you argue to win, or do you argue to understand? Couples who last are not interested in proving who's right. They're invested in preserving the connection. They may disagree passionately, but they don't weaponize words to wound or manipulate. Instead, they hold the perspective that even in disagreement, they are on the same team. That mindset ensures that fights don't break them apart, but instead become stepping stones toward deeper understanding. And equally important is the ability to create joy out of ordinary moments. Lasting couples don't wait for grand vacations or milestone celebrations to enjoy each other. They know how to turn a grocery store trip into fun, how to make each other laugh while folding laundry, how to create intimacy in the small, mundane parts of life. When joy is cultivated in the everyday, the relationship becomes a source of continual nourishment. It doesn't rely on rare highs. It thrives in the consistency of simple pleasures shared together. And there's also respect for boundaries. In healthy, lasting love, boundaries are not viewed as walls, but as structures that protect the relationship. Both partners honor the individuality of the other. They respect personal space, personal time, and personal needs. Boundaries ensure that neither person loses themselves in the relationship, and they create a healthier kind of intimacy, the kind that comes from two strong, whole individuals choosing to be together, not two incomplete people clinging to each other out of need. And another undeniable sign is resilience in communication. Misunderstandings are inevitable. Words will be misinterpreted. Tones will be taken the wrong way. But in lasting relationships, both people are willing to revisit the conversation, to clarify, to repair. They don't shut down or retreat into silence as a form of punishment. They don't let pride get in the way of resolution. They know that coming back to the table, even after emotions have cooled, is essential. That willingness to repair communication is what keeps the relationship from unraveling thread by thread. And supporting growth is another defining factor. When your partner doesn't just tolerate your ambitions, but actively encourages them, it creates a relationship where both people thrive. Imagine how powerful it is to have someone who says, "I see you, I believe in you, and I'll stand with you while you chase this dream." That kind of support isn't just nice to have, it's transformative. It makes the relationship a launch pad instead of a cage. And when both people feel supported to grow, the relationship itself grows stronger as a result. And lasting love also thrives on forgiveness, but not just forgiveness of each other, forgiveness of self. Both partners understand that they will make mistakes, that they will have moments they're not proud of, that they will occasionally fall short. In those moments, self-forgiveness allows them to move forward without carrying the weight of guilt into the relationship. When both people practice self-compassion, they can show up with more kindness and less defensiveness. The relationship becomes a space of healing instead of judgment. And another crucial sign is that both of you celebrate each other's differences instead of resenting them. In many relationships, differences become points of tension. One person is more outgoing, the other more introverted. One is spontaneous, the other prefers routine. But in relationships that last, those differences are seen as complementary strengths. Instead of asking, "Why can't you be more like me?" they say, "I love how you balance me." That acceptance transforms potential conflicts into opportunities for appreciation. And endurance in love also comes from shared joy in giving. When both partners derive happiness from giving to each other, not out of obligation but out of genuine desire, the relationship becomes a cycle of abundance. Love isn't rationed out or used as leverage. It flows freely. This generosity of spirit builds trust and creates a sense of safety where both people feel they'll never be left starving for affection, appreciation, or attention. And there's also an element of adaptability when it comes to intimacy. Physical connection might shift in different seasons of life, but couples who last find ways to maintain closeness even when circumstances change. They don't let a busy schedule, parenthood, or age diminish their connection. Instead, they adapt. They find new ways to express desire, new rhythms that suit their current life stage. That adaptability ensures that intimacy remains a living, breathing part of the relationship, rather than something that fades with time. And finally, lasting relationships are marked by a deep sense of partnership. It's not just about romance. It's about knowing that you have a teammate in life, someone who stands shoulder to shoulder with you, not just in moments of passion, but in moments of difficulty. Someone who sees your struggles as theirs, your victories as theirs, your future as intertwined with theirs. Partnership is not glamorous in the traditional sense, but it is profoundly powerful. It's the foundation that keeps love standing tall when everything else feels uncertain. And when you bring all of these pieces together, safety, inspiration, curiosity, patience, accountability, balanced conflict, everyday joy, boundaries, resilient communication, supportive growth, forgiveness, appreciation of differences, generosity, adaptability, and true partnership, you begin to see the picture of a love that doesn't just endure but thrives. It's not a fantasy, it's not a myth, and it's not luck. It's the real, lived experience of two people who are willing to put in the work, honor each other deeply, and choose each other every single day.